Good morning and welcome to my local radio sports network, Homefield Advantage. I'm Elon Off, joined by Anthony Colasino. Aaron Pulling is on his way to Star Valley right now for the biggest soccer match of the season, and we'll talk more about that later. But we got a great show for everybody. We are going to dive into these final soccer matches of the 2024 season for Mountain View and Lyman, both on the boys and girls side. Also dive into the first round of regionals. It's do or die for the Red Devils here today over in Jackson for the girls, over in Star Valley for the boys. We'll talk more about that later, but let's kick it off with talking about this Lyman-Pinedale matchup coming up.
Yep, so Lyman plays Pinedale today on the road. Last game of the season for the Eagles soccer program on both sides, and last home game for Pinedale. So, of course, there's going to be some emotions on the field. And last time the Lady Eagles played the Lady Wranglers, it was a 5-2 win for Lyman. Carly Saby had the hat trick. Owen Hansen had 2 goals as well. And then Eliza Clegg had 2 assists. And that matchup, Lyman just played their version of soccer. They only allowed 3 shots on net for Pinedale, and 2 of those squeaked by for goals. But Lyman put about 28 shots on net in that contest. So going in today, the Lady Eagles, they're going to have that same mindset of putting shots on net early and just overwhelming the keeper.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned, well, on top of that, Pinedale's going to have to mark Carly Saby.
Yes.
I mean, she gets 3 of the 5 goals, and the other 2 come from a single player as well. So that tells, if you're Pinedale, it's like, all right, look, we can't let these 2 girls be the ones to determine this game today.
Yeah. And also, it's just so hard guarding Saby. I've seen it numerous times where, and whoever's watched Lyman Lady Eagles soccer, the defender will turn their back to the rest of the field, get the ball, try to kick it back to the goalie. Well, all of a sudden, now the goalie yells, behind you. And you have Carly Saby coming in hot, and she stole the ball a couple times off of the feet of defenders throughout the season doing that. And 70% of the time, those opportunities, she puts it in the back of the net unless the keeper makes an amazing one-on-one save. So for Pinedale, it's going to be exactly that, but also knowing that you cannot commit major fouls because Saby has scored 2 Olympico-style goals last week.
Wow.
She scored off a corner kick against Lander Valley, curved it into the top right corner, and then did the exact same thing, but it was on a free kick right outside the box area. And those type of shots are nearly impossible. In those type of situations, in those free kicks, you want to pass out to the top of the box. And she scored on that as well.
It's unfortunate that they didn't have the season that they planned on, because I think if they did, Carly Saby would be talked about as an easy all-state selection. I mean, it could still happen. You never know.
Very well happen.
But it's one of those deals where it's like, just for the individual accolade there, it would have been, I think it would have been very, very nice to get Carly Saby to the table there, especially when you talk about just the different ways she can make you pay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's very fast, very physical. She can shoot from distance, and these aren't just little grounder shots that skip off the turf or off the grass and into the back of the net. These are shots that curve and are powerful and are literally game wreckers for a opposing defense. You think you're doing perfectly fine, and then all of a sudden you have Carly Saby coming out of nowhere, and boom, now it's a 1-0 game.
It's almost that, we've seen a lot of goals in these games where it's like, man, there's nothing the defense could have done, nothing the keeper could have done. Yeah. And it in the time, it makes it, especially in the booth, you're like, man, there's nothing you could have done. There's you made no mistake, nothing like that. But you wonder if, as a player, when you're in those positions, you're like, I literally did everything I could, and I could not stop this. If it almost is a little bit more of a mental backbreaker.
Yeah, definitely. And the Lady Eagles will look to get another win on the season today. Pinedale still looking for their first conference win of the season. So huge stakes in that matchup. I talked to Coach Melanie Anson, and she talked about a few of the seniors and how they're going to be very well missed next year. Addie Nelson, who plays goalkeeper, Mackenzie Lim, and Kelsey Nebaker on the defensive side. Then you got Eliza Clegg, who partners with Saby in the attack. So those seniors are definitely going to be missed, and it's going to be an emotional game today, and both sides are going to want to try to get that win to just cap off their season on the right note.
I was about to say the bad news is that both these teams' seasons are going to come to an end after. Pinedale will play one more game, but for Lyman, their season comes to an end after this. So it's they're going to leave it all out there.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's one of those things where bad news, you can't go any further. But as a game and as an athlete, this is a prime opportunity to go out there and just leave it all out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing to hold back for. It's just these 80 minutes.
It's you, your teammates, your coaches, and the soccer ball. And then I would say for Lyman, just enjoy those 80 minutes out there and just kind of live in that moment, as this is going to be the last time you're going to, play with some of your teammates, some of your classmates, or if you're returning next year as an underclassman, you're going to see those people back again on the soccer field and possibly make new friends with the new freshman or anyone new who's going to play next year on the roster. And the future's looking bright for Lady Eagle soccer. Still a couple of seniors, but still a good group of juniors that are going to be turning to seniors that are going to be headliners next year for this team. And you look at the majority of their losses this year, and it's by 1 goal or less. It really is. And that is just, a few balls going to the net, a few saves the keeper doesn't make, and this team could be clinching a spot for state.
Yeah, you're right. And the other thing that kind of stands out is just like for the seniors today, it's a strange feeling. And I mean, it's a feeling I'm sure that they felt when they played the last volleyball game, last soccer game, or last basketball game. Now you're playing the last soccer game. But not only is this the last soccer game, this is your last contest as a high school athlete.
Yeah.
Like this is it, unless you're a track runner, then. But after this, Lyman. Not only is Lyman soccer done, Lyman sports are done, with the exception of track.
Yeah,
it's got to feel a little strange.
It feels strange, and I'll relate back. I played golf as a spring sport, and that was one of the last sports to finish at my high school back in Las Vegas. And no joke, I would get done that last hole at state on that second day, tapped in the cup, and then all of a sudden
it's over.
I just realized that was the 18th hole, because I was thinking, oh, there has to be one more hole to go. And then all of a sudden I see, my family that attended clapping off to the side. My coach claps. He, walks on. I'm walking off, and all of a sudden I realize it's over. I start tearing up a little bit, and my coach hugs me and all that, and just it's crazy. There's definitely it's going to be an emotional game today.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So that's the boys. So tell us, or the girls, sorry. Tell us about the boys matchup we got coming up.
So the boys matchup. So of course, same situation as the girls. Last home game for Pinedale, so it's senior night for the Wranglers.
Yeah.
Last game of the season for Lyman. And last time out, Pinedale won 5-0 over the Eagles down in Lyman. But also these squads faced earlier in the year at the Warland tournament, and it was a shootout victory for Pinedale. So overall, the Eagles, they're going to be looking back for revenge. They don't want to get swept this year by Pinedale. And talking to head coach Cody Eardley, this team is hungry. They want to try to get another win on the season and try to build momentum for next year.
Yeah, I agree. And you mentioned that. Well, we talked about how for Lyman, they're going to want to leave it all out on the table.
Yeah.
They're going to go intense. The fact that it's senior night for Pinedale, you want to win senior night.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially if you know your season is going to come to an end tomorrow. So you want to win senior night. So this is almost going to have some playoff feel where Lyman wants to go out on top, Pinedale wants to win senior night. It's going to be just kind of, I think it's going to be a pretty high intensity game.
And speaking to Pinedale coach George Velastos, he has 8 seniors on his roster. So it's definitely a big stakes that the underclassmen, he's told me the underclassmen want the seniors to go out on the right foot at home.
And Pinedale has a beautiful facility.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely.
I got it to call a game there, and it was like, whoa,
it's a nice facility.
Pretty.
Yes. Yeah, you got the hillside in the background. The press box is nice. The field is beautiful. Just all of those elements, and you're definitely going to have some of the Pinedale fans always show out to events. When Mountain View went up to play Pinedale earlier in the year, it was cold. It was probably about 20, 25 degrees outside. I'll probably may say around 30, 40 instead. It was probably 30, 40 degrees, but still a little bit chilly outside. And the amount of fans that attended that matchup for both the girls and boys was insane. you had students basically begging their teachers, hey, let's go watch soccer game. And you had multiple classes out in the stands for that period of time that they're supposed to be in class. Their teachers right with them watching the game and cheering on the girls or cheering on the boys. So overall, Pinedale's going to make sure it's a tough task for Lyman today with their with the team on the field, but also with the fans in the crowd.
And what time do those games start today?
The girls' game starts at 3 p.m. Boys' game starts at 5 p.m. Big Country Properties pregame show at 2:30 p.m. live from Corfanta Field in Pinedale, Wyoming.
So here's your weather update. At kickoff, it's going to be 50 degrees for the girls' game.
Ooh.
And then for the boys, it's going to be 49 degrees.
That's a nice day.
So it's going to be, and it should hold, say the game ends around 7, you're looking at a 45-degree day. So
compared to the weather we've had recently, that's going to be a good day for soccer.
Yeah, it'll be all right. I think it'll be definitely all right.
Yeah, definitely for sure. We'll take a break here on Home Field Advantage, presented by Jake Major with the Bullock Agency of Wyoming and Bear Lake Memorial Hospital.
If you've never heard a mechanic say they truly care, then you've been at the wrong place. Stacy's Repair in Woodruff is a family-owned and operated business open since 1992. Offering all types of maintenance and repair services, you can be sure your vehicle is operating at its best. Whether your vehicle is older or the newest model, gas or diesel, we fix and maintain them all. Also offering chip repair, windshield replacement, and tires. When your vehicle needs a mechanic, bring it to the ones who truly care. Stacy's Repair in Woodruff.
Founded in 1938 with hopes and dreams of serving the Bridger Valley, Benedict Trading Company was started. Now 85 years and 3 generations later, Benedict's Ace is still serving the Bridger Valley. At Benedict's Ace, you'll find all your home improvement needs. If you're wanting to update the color of your walls, they have all the supplies you need. Changing or fixing your faucet or needing to change out a light fixture can be done with ease. Time to add a backyard paradise? Stop in at Benedict's Ace for all your barbecue, patio furniture, lawn maintenance, and gardening needs. Stop in and visit their friendly staff at 1080 North Highway 414 in Mountain View.
At Reese Auto Service in Lyman, you will find highly skilled mechanics who will get the job done right the first time. They work on anything from light line jobs of tire alignments, suspension work, and oil changes to heavy line jobs of engine replacement, differentials, and all powertrain components. Make sure all your recreational vehicles are working at top speed by getting them checked at Reese Auto Service in Lyman so your time having fun doesn't end early. Reese Auto Service, 541 State Highway 413, Lyman.
When it comes to professional propane service, you can always count on the team at T7 Propane in Woodruff. With a focus on safety, quality product, and excellent service for each customer, you'll always call T7 first. When you work with the professionals at T7 Propane, you're working with the best. For all your propane needs, call T7 Propane in Woodruff, Utah, 435-793-4208.
Welcome back live into Home Field Advantage, presented by Jake Major with the Bullock Agency of Wyoming and Bear Lake Memorial Hospital. Before we get into the Mountain View segment, we have a couple of our sponsors to thank: Heritage Auto, Benedict's Ace, and Market, Union, and Les Schwab Plain Tires, and also Station on Main. We can't do anything without any of those sponsors, so thank you so much for your support of high school athletics.
And before we continue on, just a reminder, if you're looking for a great job or you know of someone who is looking for a job, make sure you're at the job fair. There will be lots of great companies. They're looking for quality employers, so dress for success. Bring your resume and come to the My Local Radio Job Fair. It's happening today at the Machine Shop, 12:30 to 6 o'clock. And, of course, it is brought to you by MyLocalRadio.com and all our friends at Ready.
And that's in less than 2 hours. So if you want to get a new job or find a new career path, go down to the job fair and present yourself.
Or if you are someone who's getting ready to be done with school for the summer and need a summer job,
absolutely,
definitely a great place to start.
Absolutely. And now hopping into the Mountain View segment, the Buffaloes take on the Wranglers as well. The Wranglers, are going to face off against the Bridger Valley this week. And the girls game versus Pinedale, last time out, it was a I believe it was a 4-1 win for the Lady Buffaloes. That was one of the first games I did, so way early in the season. So these teams haven't actually seen each other for a very while. And last time was a 4-1 win for the Lady Buffs. Mia Guild had 2 goals, and Ellie Stoddard had 2 goals in that matchup. And once again, it was the Lady Buffaloes just finding the midfield well and attacking early. But new questions for this Lady Buffalo squad. In that last few weeks, their goalkeeper room has been severely banged up. So for that past couple games, we've seen a new face in net almost every single day. So it depends how Pinedale is going to take care of that on Friday. And of course, Friday is also the Mountain View's senior night as well. Mm-hmm. So a couple seniors on both sides of the rosters in that game.
Yeah, and it's kind of a reverse situation where now Pinedale's it's the last game of the season, but it's Mountain View Senior Day. So at Mountain View, if I know anything about Bridger Valley sports, Senior Days are must wins.
Oh yes,
these are wins that these kids long for, and they want. And now with it being the last game of the season too, they want this one.
Yeah.
They want this one, especially since this is, again, they're not going to state, so they want this one.
Yeah, Friday will be their last game of the season. Today they're going to be up at Lander, but depending on weather conditions, that game may happen. It may not happen because it is supposed to be a little bit snowy, a little bit rainy up in Lander today. But since Friday will be their last game of the season, it's going to have those seniors going out strong. I know Hannah Peterson's going to play collegiate soccer the next level for Laramie Community College. And, it's going to be a huge deal for those seniors to go on a winning note and also just to win at Green Space Field.
Yeah, and Green Space Field is a unique venue.
Unique field.
It's very unique venue. And it's something where, when you have those type of unique venues, you got to capitalize on those home field advantages.
Absolutely. And when I've talked to opposing coaches about it, they're like, the grass there the ball just sticks to the grass.
Yeah.
It's all natural grass. Yeah. It's Wyoming all natural grass, so it's going to stick.
And it's one of the only teams that does not play on a turf field.
Yes.
So it's completely different. Mm-hmm. Are we talking about the boys or girls right now?
We're talking about the
girl. Okay.
We're still on the girls a little bit.
I got something for the boys in a minute, but the girls, this is the first time in a minute they have not qualified for state.
Yes.
So I think it does signal a little bit of a recharge. I think if they can get a win here, have something good to build on in the offseason, they're going to be right back in that tournament.
They have a lot of young faces. Ellie Stoddard has been a bright spot for this team. She's only a freshman. Yeah. She runs the ball super well. Taylor Antonino looks like she's going to be the next one up in attack for the Lady Buffaloes next year. And also, some young defenders in Sarah Cottom. Maddie Buchanan is going to be a name in there as well to look out for. KNYN, who's only a sophomore. She's scored a couple of amazing goals so far this season for the Lady Buffs.
Yeah.
So the future is bright. We're not saying that after this year, after seniors leave, that it's going to be a little bit of a rough spot. Next year is going to be a really good year for Lady Buffaloes, I feel. And switching to the boys' side of this game, last time out, the boys won 3-2 over Pinedale in a not a penalty shootout, but Nash McCullough scored the game-winning goal from the spot with about 20 seconds left. Was going to go to PKs, and then the Pinedale defender came from behind, tried to slide tackle, caught Nash's heel, and Nash's left foot was barely in the box.
Is this the same? Is this the same team from that first matchup, though? Because that's the tough questions. Because if anyone has been bitten by the injury bug in this state and could be playing the what could have been game today, it's the Mountain View Buffaloes.
It's the Mountain View Buffaloes.
If they stay healthy, I believe they're playing next week.
Absolutely. And you look, for people who don't know who they lost over the season, I'll just give a little rundown. Nash McCullough, Brockton Walker,
Nash McCullough, which by the way I think is. Maybe I'm just biased. I think he's a player of the year candidate if he's healthy throughout the season.
He had 15 goals in the season before he got injured, and he got injured at the midway point. Yeah. So he was averaging 2-3 goals a contest.
He could have been a 20-goal scorer.
He probably would have won the Golden Boot, I'm betting, if there was that award given in 3A soccer for most goal scorer in the season. I think he would have got the Golden Boot award for that, and
that's the type of firepower that they lost just with
Yes.
one player. By the way, he wasn't the only one they lost.
No.
They really
No.
got really unfortunate down the stretch.
Yeah, and speaking of injuries, they lost Brockton Walker, one of their best center backs for the rest of the season. Aiden and Andrew Harmon have dealt with their injuries throughout the year, and then also you look more. They might have lost Cade Allen for the rest of the season, and also Aiden Harmon as well. He got re-injured in the Powell game, and then also last week Landon Salas got a red card. 2 yellows equals 1 red in soccer, so he's not going to be in the contest for Lander Valley. He should be back for the Pinedale game, and that's going to be huge. But at the same point in time, it's just the first half of the season, this team was riding high. I remember interviewing Coach Bacola and just some of the players and them saying, we're above 500. That's a huge deal for our program. And now they've won a couple games through their injury bugs, but at the same point in time, when you look at it, if they won one more game, if one of their players didn't get injured, this could be a different situation where we could be talking Powell and Mountain View could be tied going into today. They're up at Lander Valley. Powell only has 1 game left of the season this week. Mountain View has 2. So if say they were tied points-wise for that final spot, Mountain View would have that overall advantage.
Yeah. And again, when I said when we get to the boys, I have something that I feel like they had a great season.
It's hard.
They had a great season, and it feels like it should not be ending today. Unfortunately, that's sports.
Yeah.
Injuries happen. I mean, there's plenty of what-if moments where what if so-and-so had never happened? I mean, you can go into pro sports. I mean, Derek Carr with the Oakland Raiders back in 2018.
You could say Derek Rose with the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's so many what-ifs scenarios, and unfortunately, Mountain View's boys soccer, it's in my mind, it's going to be one of those like, man, what if they could have stayed healthy? Because not only do I think they'd be playing next week, I think they'd be in at least the semifinals. I think they could win a first-round game. And if you win a first-round game, let it all hang out. Who knows?
Exactly.
I mean, you're playing for a trophy at that point.
Yeah, you're fighting for the third-place trophy at that point.
You could be fighting for the state championship at that point. I mean, it's just one of those deals where it's like, I'm very, very excited for this game to see how they finish. But next year, I would not be surprised if Mountain View's playing with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder.
And this team is going to be fully healthy by next year.
And they're all back. All the the names we talked about that they lost.
Yeah. Cade Allen's a senior, but out of that group, the Harmon twins are back. Bacola's back. Brockton Walker is back. And mainly all the other great players are going to be back. Landon Salas, who's a perfect central defensive mid for this team. He's going to be back. He's a junior this year. He's going to be a senior next year. Next year's going to be the year for them. It really is for this squad, and it's going to be a good season next year. I can promise you that the Buffaloes will be back, and they'll be looking with vengeance for what happened this season. They're going to have that chip on their shoulder, and just seeing the joy, because we're right next to the benches at Green Space, and seeing the joy and seeing how locked in they were during halftime, and Coach McCall was giving them the pep talk or whatever, and just seeing them nodding their heads, and whenever someone scored the goal, the whole bench was fired up. You can tell this team is just all in, and they still are going into the last 2 games of the season, but next season, that's going to be even more in the forefront.
Absolutely, and this is what starts those types of stories.
Yes.
The whole story usually starts with some type of overcoming adversity. And if Mountain View boys soccer in 2024 has experienced anything, it's been adversity.
Yeah.
And they've even come back and they've gotten some wins, and they've played very well since that injury. Yeah. It's just, unfortunately, they had a chance last week. They were in prime position to keep themselves in the playoff hunt. Unfortunately, things just don't. It's sports.
It doesn't go your way every single day. They had a 1-0 loss to Powell, where I was talking to some of the players, and just the ball bounced off awkwardly off of Coulter Timms, the keeper, and into the back of the net. It's just those type of things. And then Cody is one of the best teams in the 3A. And
another thing, we talk about how big of an advantage it is, and I this is kind of reminding me a little bit of Evanston soccer. Talk about how big of an home field advantage it is for Mountain View to play at green space, because there's no other field like it. When Evanston had played at the Bear Ponds, it was the same thing. No other field like it. But it does sometimes translate into being a little unfamiliar on turf when you do practice on grass, when you do play your home games on grass, and then you get to turf. Those weird bounces happen on turf. And not seeing that as often as other teams, it does serve a little bit as a disadvantage sometimes.
And as a broadcaster and also as a fan, I've seen those skips happen this season where the ball, I'm like, all right, this is going to be an easy save. The keeper's just going to roll under it. All it's going to go is boing straight up. And
it's just not being familiar. It's just a different playing surface. It's a completely different game. It moves faster on turf. It bounces weird.
Yeah.
I mean, you on grass, you know where it's going to be. It kind of sticks, as you mentioned. But on turf, again, the grass is just uniformly cut. It rolls quicker. It is just a different play style. And we've seen Mountain View have success on turf. Don't get me wrong. But it is one of those deals where where you do think a little bit about, okay, there's a little bit of a learning curve whenever you go onto a turf field to play a game.
Absolutely. And it's those weird home field advantages that different schools have, but also, going back to last week, Mountain View, they took a huge road trip up north. 6 hours, 5.5 to 6 hours in a bus. That takes something out of you. For sure. And just how we say in professional sports, like jet lag is a real thing as well.
For sure.
It's real for high school athletes as well.
And I'm sorry, those buses are not the most comfortable things to be sitting on for 6 hours.
No, definitely not. No. We'll take a break here, and actually let's go through the start times first for Friday's matchup. Girls at 3 p.m., boys at 5 p.m. Big Country Properties pregame show scheduled for 2:30 p.m. Fingers crossed the weather holds up tomorrow. There is a chance of scattered thunderstorms in the Bridger Valley area, so hopefully the weather holds up and we'll be able to see a senior night, hopefully a fairy tale ending on Friday for the Mountain View Buffaloes on senior night, and they can have a great end to the season. After the break, we'll talk about some Red Devil soccer. This is Home Field Advantage, presented by Jake Major with the Bullock Agency of Wyoming and Bear Lake Memorial Hospital.
Hey there, I'm Jake Major, your local Medicare and insurance benefits advisor for the Bullock Agency of Wyoming. With over 25 years of experience protecting families in rural America, we understand the importance of having an affordable insurance coverage. Whether you're searching for extra coverage or looking to understand and switch your Medicare options, I can help you find a range of top-rated insurance companies and tailor-made packages based on your needs. Call me, Jake Major, today at 307-209-4685, and let's discuss your insurance options. We're the Bullock Agency of Wyoming, when benefits matter.
When you have an emergency, choose Bear Lake Memorial Hospital. Open 24/7, the professional emergency room staff is trained for trauma, medical, cardiac, pediatric, orthopedic, and obstetric emergencies. Bear Lake Memorial is a critical access level 3 trauma center, offering immediate access to radiology, lab services, surgery, and internal medicine consults. The ER teams are well-trained professionals who are ready to act. When you have an emergency, Bear Lake Memorial Hospital, the most caring hospital on earth.
Out here, we've always worked remote. Out here, stress usually refers to the pull on a rope. Where a stroll in the city is also a stroll in the great outdoors. Where work is a way of life, and life is good. Out here, the backyards are big, and the deals, they're even bigger. This is southwestern Wyoming, and it's where you can get the biggest deals on a vehicle you want with plenty of hometown hospitality. Heritage Auto, your hometown dealer with the biggest deals.
Life is better in the country. KNYN, Fort Bridger, Evanston, Woodruff, 99.1. The country you want to be in.
And we welcome you back to Home Field Advantage here on MyLocalRadio.com, presented by Jake Major with the Bullock Agency of Wyoming and Bear Lake Memorial Hospital. I'll also have to give a big thank you to T7 Propane, as well as First Bank of Wyoming, as well as Reese Auto, and I think that would be it. So a big thank you to everyone for your support. Without you guys, our broadcast could not happen. And a big broadcast happening right now. You're noticing Aaron Poling is absent from our show today. He is en route to Star Valley right now to get ready to call the boys' regional game For Evanston, they'll take on Rock Springs today at 4. The girls play in Jackson against Jackson at 2 o'clock. Our good friend Jake Nichols will have the call on that game. For the girls, it's going to be an uphill battle, but they have almost everyone back.
Yeah.
They've been holding a lot of people out because of injuries, and I think Coach Barton knew she wanted to hold people out because they really couldn't improve their seating. They knew they were going to be the number 7. Now it's time. This is the game. This is what everything has been leading up to. This is what you have to do if you're Evanston. And considering how they played against Natrona County, they played pretty well. Yeah. There is some reasons to be optimistic if you're Evanston. However, that game being in Jackson against Jackson, that is definitely a uphill battle they're going to have to climb.
It's going to be an uphill battle, but going back to having a 99% healthy roster, that's going to be the ultimate trap card for Evanston in that, Jackson's going to be coming in this game. All right, it's on our home field. Yep. We're ready for it. But then they're going to come out and see a fully healthy Evanston squad. That's going to be a problem.
And the other thing is that I don't think anyone's seen a fully healthy Evanston squad yet.
No.
We had injuries from the jump with this team. So it's one of those ones where this is the first time we've seen everyone kind of come together. So it's going to be fascinating to see how this game plays out. I think they truly believe that they can get this game. And here's the unique part about 4A regional soccer. It's not a double elimination bracket. It's 7 teams. The number 1 team is already guaranteed a spot in state. And then the other 6 play 2 and 7, 6 and 3, 4 and 5. You win those games. All you have to do is win one game. You're in. And then you play the seeding games to find out if you're going to be 1, 2, 3, or 4. But you win today, you're going to Rock Springs next week.
And I think that's on all the teams' mind, on the girls and the boys' side, is that a win and you're in. It's done. Get a win. Get a win and you're in state.
Treat this game like a state championship game. I think that's all you can do if you're Evanston.
Absolutely.
This is the most important game that we have seen in girls soccer this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And same thing with the boys, but we're going to stay with the girls right now. I think JC Bardsley, I look at the seniors on this team, and they are big names in Evanston Lady Red Devil soccer. Of course, there's JC Bardsley. She's going to be a college player. You've got Kinley Hinsey. I bet she plays college. Bella Dover as well. So there, and of course, Kayla Renova. I think she's going to be back. I've heard Celeste Ayala Gomez may come back as well. Those are 5 players that are seniors that have contributed and been a part of this program and been a big part of this program for almost their entire careers. I want to say Bardsley started as a freshman.
Yeah.
And same thing with Hinsey. So it's going to be strange, quite frankly, that to have Evanston Red Devil soccer and not have those 5 young women next year. So I would love nothing more than to see them come away with this victory. I think if you're Evanston, though, you've got to go from the hunted to the hunters. Because the Achilles heel of the Lady Red Devils have been the opening 10 minutes. They've allowed goals too often in that opening 10 minutes. If you're Evanston, you got to be the ones dictating the pace. I think. I think you have to go into Jackson and say, we are going to have control of this game, not you.
Absolutely. And when you look at say the first 10 minutes, usually the one where the game gets a little bit out of hand. They got to control that down. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying puppy dog the ball on your back end for the first 10 minutes of the game. No,
quite frankly, you need to be on the other side.
You need to be on the other side. You need to be controlling the possession marker in that game today versus Jackson and kind of pushing that pace. And if it's landing the first punch, it's landing the first punch, and that punch is, of course, going to be scoring in the back of the net.
If you can score first in this game, you're going to put Jackson on their back foot because you set the tone. They're not expecting that. Mm-hmm. I think it's one of those deals where, and in the regular season games the scores have been what they are, but this is a team, especially now healthy, I think has a shot to go in there and pull off an upset. Is it going to be easy? No. Are they the underdogs? Absolutely. But I believe that they have just as good a chance as anyone to go do that and become the second Evanston Red Devil girls team to make it to the state tournament.
Well, whenever you get to regional and state tournaments, people usually look at the number one seeds as the seeds that are going to, number one, number two, depending on the sport. Basketball, you got number ones on each side. Yeah. But you look at the number one, number twos, okay, they're going to be the teams that are probably going to get state. Yeah. But you never know. That fourth seed or that seventh seed or that fifth seed or sixth seed in soccer could make a dangerous run.
It's the playoffs. Yeah. It's one game. That's what's going to determine it, is one game. And all you have to do is be great for this one game. If you are that, you are going to the state tournament.
Well, and also with playoffs, it's like both these teams enter a parallel universe. Yeah. It's 0-0. Records are thrown out the window. Yep. It is 0-0, and you're starting over fresh, and this game is win or go home.
Yeah. Exactly. Mm-hmm. That game will start at 2 o'clock. Our good friend Jake Nichols will have that live from Jackson, Wyoming, as the Lady Red Devils take on the Jackson Hole Lady Bronx. All right. Now for the boys. This was probably the number 2 matchup we wanted. The one we wanted to avoid was playing Kelly Walsh in the first round, which we did. That. Yep. And we would have liked to play Star Valley in the first round.
Yes.
Fortunately, we didn't do that. So we get Rock Springs. And that's not, first of all, that's a historic matchup because in 2021, Evanston played Rock Springs in the first round on May 13th here in Evanston. Evanston won 2-1. It's the only time they've ever been to state. They won it 2-1. The next year, 2022, it was the same matchup in the first round over at Jackson as part of the regional tournament on May 12th. Rock Springs won 1-0. This year, matchups between Evanston and Rock Springs have been very, very close. I mean, there's the first matchup where Rock Springs did win 4-1, but that was also an Evanston team that was reeling after the Jackson loss in the first round and just was trying to find their footing. After that Rock Springs win, they go on and put together a couple of wins. Last time they played Rock Springs was April 23rd, 2-1 win for Rock Springs in Rock Springs.
Yeah.
This isn't Star Valley. It's level. Anything can happen with this game.
Also, you look at this matchup history. It's regional bad blood, basically. Mm-hmm. These teams are somehow destined to meet in the regional tournament. And I would say this, maybe it's better to play Rock Springs rather than Star Valley because you're going to be playing Star Valley on their own field where they're familiar.
That's a good point.
Instead, it's now a true neutral site matchup. Mm-hmm. Both towns are somewhat at equal distance away from Star Valley if you think about it. Rock Springs,
Wyoming standards.
In Wyoming standards, yeah. But it's a true neutral matchup. And I think this matchup could just go either way.
I think Evanston's got a shot.
Yeah.
And because it all goes back to that old adage of it's really, really difficult to beat a good team three times in a year. Evanston lost big. They lost by 3 goals in the first matchup. There's nothing you can do about that.
Exactly.
But they're one miffed save away from a draw in Rock Springs.
Yeah. And that draw could have been very well the point between being the seed now or the next seed up, depending on how the rest of the season would have played out. But it's
this Evanston team is inching closer and closer and closer and closer to that win.
Yes,
against Rock Springs. No better time than now. No better time than now.
No better time than now just to have that team just go all out.
Yeah.
And we talk about the girls dominating possession. The boys are going to do so as well. Mm-hmm. And kind of put a blanket on that defensive post and kind of anchor it down and try to shut out this Tigers attack, which has been good throughout various parts of the season. And overall, if you can get guys, like Jordan Mendez, Dellery started.
Well, and Jordan Mendez has been on a roll this season.
Yes.
He's got plenty of goals.
Yes.
If you can get Dellery going, I want to see Brooke Searle put one in. I think he has been close. I think so has Drew Parker. I think Drew is definitely kind of fallen into that facilitator role, which I think he's absolutely excellent at. So if you can get him open and you can get him to either drop it off to Dalry, drop it back to Dalry, drop it forward to Mendez or Searle. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So girls play Jackson today at 2 o'clock. That's going to be live from Jackson Hole. If they win, they will play against the winner of Riverton and Star Valley at 2 o'clock in Star Valley tomorrow. So that is the situation if Evanston wins, but it's all about playing at 2 o'clock today. You win, you play at 2 o'clock tomorrow. You lose, your season will come to an end in Teton County. For the boys, they play against Rock Springs at 4 p.m., and if they win that game, they will play tomorrow at 4 p.m. against the winner of Kelly Walsh and Riverton. So that is the situation here, and it is going to be a lot of fun. Again, win or go home. Win, you're into state. Lose, and your season comes to an end, and we start plotting on 2025. Again, the girls will play Jackson in Jackson at 2 o'clock. Our good friend Jake Nichols will have that live on mylocalradio.com. And then the boys will play Rock Springs at 4 o'clock live from Star Valley. Aaron Pulling will have that. Just a reminder, the WHSAA has sold the postseason video streaming rights to an out-of-state streaming company, and therefore My Local Radio is not authorized to provide video coverage of the games, but we will have the audio with the scoreboard on the screen, and great calls by both Jake and Aaron. And that's going to do it for this week's edition of Home Field Advantage, brought to you by Jake Major with the Bullock Agency of Wyoming and Baylor Lake Memorial Hospital, inviting you to join us at the My Local Radio Job Fair starting at 12:30, running to 6 o'clock at the machine shop today. And a great opportunity for you to get a summer job, a part-time job, whatever you have in mind, or even if you're looking for a complete change of vocation, that is the place to be. Again, it's the My Local Radio Job Fair presented by Ready from 12:30 to 6 o'clock at the machine shop. I'm Elon Olive.
Anthony Colasuno.
And we'll see you guys next time.